Title: I walked in and saw my family on the couch. My wife, mom, daughters, and best friend. What's wrong? I asked, fearing something bad. Dad, sit down, my daughter said. You need to accept a new reality. Start. I walked in and saw my family on the couch. My wife, my mother, my two daughters, and my best friend, Victor. Their eyes turned toward me like I was an intruder in my own home. Something in the air felt wrong, thick, heavy. My youngest daughter spoke first. Dad, sit down. Her tone was cold, rehearsed. I glanced at Victor, his arm resting casually along the back of the couch, just behind my wife. That small detail hit harder than a punch. What's wrong? I asked, trying to steady my voice. My eldest looked at me, the way a doctor looks before delivering bad news. You need to accept a new reality, she said. You're not in charge of this family anymore. And then she said it. Uncle Victor is more like a father to us now. The room blurred. My mother didn't look up. My wife didn't flinch. They all knew. My pulse hammered in my ears, but I didn't let a word escape. Silence can be more dangerous than shouting. I turned around, walked out, closed the door behind me, and that was the moment they lost the luxury of my restraint. Victor and I had known each other since high school. He was the best man at my wedding, my confidant through everything: business, fatherhood, grief. When my father died, it was Victor who stood next to me, hand on my shoulder, promising to watch over the family. He kept that promise, just not in the way I expected. Looking back, the signs were there. He was too comfortable around my wife, too involved in family decisions. My daughters laughed at his jokes in ways they no longer laughed at mine. But betrayal doesn't hit all at once. It seeps in slowly, poisoning memories until the good ones taste bitter. The night before that confrontation, I'd seen them together. Through the security feed I had installed 6 months ago, the one they didn't know about. Victor came over after I'd left for a business trip. He poured wine. My wife smiled in that soft, familiar way, the smile I hadn't seen in years. He leaned in. She didn't stop him. I watched for an hour. My daughters came in later, laughing, calling him Uncle Vic. My mother sat quietly in the corner, complicit in silence. That was the night I stopped being their husband, father, son, and became their reckoning. Revenge isn't rage, it's arithmetic. Step 1, secure the foundation. Over the years, I'd built my company with careful ownership layers: shell firms, proxy directors, offshore accounts. Victor thought he was my equal partner. He wasn't. He owned nothing but the illusion of power. Step 2, isolate them. I stopped all transfers into the family accounts, sold assets quietly under their names, redirected every pipeline of money into one place, mine. Step 3, leave traces. I hired a private investigator to collect proof: texts, photos, call logs, financial links between Victor and my wife. I sent anonymous copies to a few trusted board members, my attorney, and one local journalist, just in case. Then I waited. I watched. I smiled through dinners where Victor raised a glass to family. I was patient. People assume revenge needs fire. It doesn't. It needs precision. The morning after I walked out of that room, my plan began. At 7 a.m., my company servers locked. Victor's access credentials were revoked. By 8 a.m., all company accounts under his control were frozen. By 9 a.m., an internal memo went out announcing an emergency audit with his name at the center. He tried calling. I didn't answer. By noon, his bank accounts showed negative balances. Every debt, every side deal, every misused company fund, all traced back to his authorization. At 3 p.m., the police came to his office. At 4 p.m., the board called an emergency vote. I stayed silent on the call until the final moment. "Gentlemen," I said, "Victor betrayed my trust. You know what to do." They did. Meanwhile, my wife tried calling 32 times. By then, her cards had stopped working. The house, my father's house, was legally under my company's name. At 7 p.m., the locks changed. I sat in my car across the street, watching them arrive one by one. My mother clutching her bag, my daughters confused, Victor pacing in disbelief. The porch light flickered as they realized their keys no longer fit. Their shouts echoed into the night. I didn't move. I just watched. The next day, I got 118 missed calls from my wife, my mother, Victor, even my daughters. When I finally answered, it was Victor. His voice cracked. "What the hell did you do?" I smiled, unseen. "I accept the new reality," I said. "I'm not in charge anymore, remember?" Silence. Then a trembling breath. "You ruined everything." "No," I said quietly. "I just reclaimed what was mine." I hung up. 2 days later, the papers ran the story. Business partner arrested for fraud and embezzlement. Victor's face on every screen. My wife's name surfaced in the leaked messages. My mother's complicity in covering family matters. Public sympathy is a powerful thing. Overnight, I became the victim of betrayal, the man wronged by those he trusted most. No one questioned my silence. They called it dignity. I moved out of the city, bought a quiet house by the coast. The air smelled of salt and new beginnings. Sometimes I still replay that night, the moment my daughter told me I wasn't in charge anymore. She was right, in a way. I'd lost control of them long before that day. But what they never understood is that control doesn't vanish. It evolves. It hides. It waits. They thought they stripped me of power, but all they did was show me who deserved none. Now they live off government help, their names whispered with shame. Victor's in prison. My wife divorced me, publicly, dramatically, but she never got a penny. And my daughters? They learned that respect isn't inherited, it's earned. I sometimes imagine them sitting on that same couch, replaying the day they tried to dethrone me, and I smile, because that's when I stopped being their father and became their lesson. I didn't lose my family that day. I simply revealed who they really were. And in doing so, I found myself again.